So, really quickly, guys, before we get started on Marbles Monday, because I would like to play some marbles, I just want to touch on really quick, kind of some of the stuff that was happening, obviously, over the weekend, and my post and things like that, just to kind of get, I don't know, more or less to explain what I was kind of thinking with those posts, just really, really quickly. Don't want to get too intense or anything like that, but just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. So I made a post over the weekend. I think it was Friday. I made the post talking a little bit about the death of George Floyd and the current Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of the protests that were happening, just in reference to those things. And this is actually, I think, before those protests started that I made this post. But anyway, it was just kind of talking about my own personal experience being Black in America, growing up, and my experience with law enforcement and my views on the current administration. So let me just start off this as well by saying that I don't expect everyone to agree with me, and that's fine. I don't have this channel, and I don't have people in the community expecting everyone to agree with me. I know that a lot of you guys don't, and that's totally fine. I want everyone to feel welcome here and included. So I just want to make this disclaimer before people are like, oh no, they're political, whatever. I do support Black Lives Matter. I do support that movement. I think it's important. Like I said, have certain views of the whole opinion of all lives matter. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times this stuff goes without saying, but of course all lives matter, but all lives won't matter until Black lives do matter. So I want to make that clear. That's how I feel. I don't think that you can't enjoy me or anyone else playing games. I don't think that enjoying playing games or the content that someone makes is separate or has to be tied together with you agreeing with them. Just put that out there. I know that a lot of you guys won't, but I do support, not a lot of you guys, I know that some of you guys won't, but I do support Black Lives Matter. I do support that movement, and I do think that the death of George Floyd was tragic and unnecessary, and brought up a lot of emotions in my own life from my own personal experiences with racism, my father's experiences with racism. My father grew up in the South, and he would tell me that it was not incredibly uncommon to see a lynching as a young boy. He would see this stuff. He would just see people hanging from trees. And that made a real impression on me, that my dad grew up through that, experienced that kind of racism. I experienced it as well when dating Tirza, plenty of times. Looks that we would get, people just straight out calling me the N-word. Obviously, it happens quite often on Twitch. To my own weird that this is even an advantage, that this is even something that is like an advantage, is that I have lighter skin and, you know, looser curls, and so people don't always know what I am. So they're like, oh, I don't know if I can, whatever. But anyway, I definitely feel for my friends and family that have darker skin and are easy to target and easy to spot. But anyway, all that to say, I want to just point out to anyone that the comments that I made on my Instagram and on my Twitter were my emotions and how I feel about a system that inherently is set up to marginalize Black people and to incarcerate Black people. And where that makes it okay to murder a Black man. Now, that's alleged. Obviously, we don't know exactly the cause of death. To be honest, I don't really care, because in no book anywhere does it say that you can put your knee on someone's neck for 9 minutes. So I want to make that clear too, that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. George Floyd is dead. If this cop did not directly cause his death for whatever reason, whatever the autopsy shows somehow, it doesn't make what he did okay. And the fact that he did it on camera with zero remorse in his face is all I really needed to see, whether or not George Floyd lived or died, and obviously tragically died. So, that's what I'm talking about. I don't hate all cops. I don't hate white cops. I don't hate white people. And I was getting a lot of those messages on there saying like, you hate white people, you hate white cops. I don't hate white people. I don't hate white cops at all. I have friends who are cops. I think the whole a few bad apples argument really undermines the argument. It undermines the idea that there's a problem with police brutality as a whole, and there is a problem with systemic racism within the institution of law enforcement. And if you don't see it, consider for a moment that you're in a position of privilege where you can't. You should be grateful that you have that. So I want to promote on this stream and anywhere else, have empathy for your fellow Americans, for people that kneel during the national anthem, for people that protest silently. Consider how and why they hurt before you attack them for what they've done. Even the people that have caused property damage and whatnot in the protest in Minneapolis and elsewhere, consider why that is happening before you judge that they're doing it. Stop using Martin Luther King as an example. You know, he was hated. Martin Luther King was not loved as he is today. He was hated back then. His protests, his marches turned violent. Dogs were sicked on them. They were beaten. I don't know why people keep drawing this comparison to Martin Luther King as if somehow this is how black people should protest. I'm not saying that looting and destroying property and all those things, and there have been some tragic losses as well of black-owned communities. I'm not saying that those are justified. They shouldn't happen. But understand why they are. I want everyone just to, I really don't care. I really don't care if you don't agree with this stuff. I don't really care. I think that what you need to do, I'm not looking to change your mind. I'm looking to open your heart to empathize with an entire group of people who feels marginalized, who feels taken advantage of. Empathize with them. Understand their point of view. Then formulate your opinions. But if you can't empathize with them, there's no point. There's no point. So I just wanted to make that kind of, I guess, statement before we got into stream today, so you guys know where I'm coming from. Racism is hard. I remember reading somewhere that racism is not conscious as a lot of people think it is. It's not a conscious decision necessarily. It can be. But a lot of racism that we see today is built into the very fabric of our culture. It's so invisible that you don't even think that it's there. It's so invisible you don't even think that it's there. And so when someone says that's racist or you're being racist or whatever it may be, you think that, oh, well, racism is a conscious decision I'm making, and I'm not making that decision that I'm aware of, so I'm not acting, or condoning racism. And it's more than that. So much more than that. It's built into the very system and fabric of our society in a lot of ways that you may not even realize. The looks I've gotten, the life that I've had, and even the small moments of racism that I've encountered in my life, you don't understand the cloud over your head. It's pretty incredible. So I just, again, what I want to push today is that you empathize with people, with fellow Americans. Just empathize. Seek understanding. Don't be quick to judge other people because of the actions they make in anger or frustration. If you've ever punched a wall, thrown something, broken something, you know the emotion. It shouldn't have to be described to you or explained to you. You know the emotion. Does it make it right to destroy those things? Of course not. It doesn't make it right, but it's understandable where those things come from and why that happens. So, I'm not excusing the. I don't feel like I have to keep explaining that, but anyway. I want you to know that I appreciate you guys. I love this community, and I love and appreciate the support that you guys have given me. A lot of your comments and stuff on the post have been really nice. Obviously, some have been terrible. Missing the point completely.
Love you, my guy. Well said.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Decon. Yeah, I love you guys, and I just wanted to make that clear. I haven't been looking at chat specifically because I don't want to break down, obviously, and I also just wanted to keep my stream of consciousness as focused as possible. So anyway, thank you, chat.